Hello, how are you? I'm Daniel Frankel, co-founder and CEO of Next TMT, and I'm with the editor of Next TMT Networks, Dan Jones here,
I
live from Brooklyn. We'll
Yeah,
ask him about England and his World Cup team in a few minutes.
right.
We're all fans right now. We'll dive right into it. A lot of news to discuss, starting with this morning's big announcement, or one of them, Verizon and BT combining their international enterprise units. Did I get that right?
Yeah, yep.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it means for the deal that Verizon struck with Ericsson a week or two ago, but
Yeah.
it may not mean anything particularly at all. But it's just suggesting that both Verizon and BT want to focus on their respective domestic markets. So there we go.
So does it mean that BT relies on Verizon's North American wherewithal and Verizon relies on BT's European assets, right? Is that how it works? Or
No, because they're not. They're just combining the international enterprise departments from both companies. So it's going to be a separate group. It's kind of a weird deal, but
I'm just trying to figure out how it helps them. By combining them, it reduces the amount of concentration
yeah.
and resources required. What what's behind that? Why are they divesting what seems like, I mean, enterprise is a big deal for
Yeah.
Verizon.
No, I know. I'm not quite sure, but we can see Verizon has been doing stuff recently with their new CEO where he's done stuff that you would not have thought of as a Verizon kind of thing to do. They laid off most of their private network group around sometime late last year, along with the 15,000 people that as part of the 15,000 people they laid off late last year.
Dan Schulman has
Yeah,
come
Dan
in
Schulman,
with, he's come in rolling heads and
yeah,
demanding change.
yeah,
And
yeah.
how has that generally been received in the industry? I mean, Verizon, it's well known that Verizon, all three of the big three, have laid off a lot of people over the
Right.
last 5 or 10 years. Is this, I mean, the investors have their take, but do the folks who are not on Wall Street, do they see this as unseemly, or is this part of a healthy process that needs
Um,
to happen?
I wouldn't say that that the people who are kind of adjacent to the people who've been laid off would see it as particularly good. I mean, the latest Verizon results were fairly good, so possibly his kind of moves were justified, maybe.
Other things are happening. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
revealed last week in the Financial Times that as part of their IPO roadshow for SpaceX, the woman who heads that venture, is it Ms. Shotwell?
I think
She
so. Yeah,
told
yeah.
investors that SpaceX will indeed launch a terrestrial 5G
Right,
service that compete head on with T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. It was kind of assumed that would happen, but nobody
right.
maybe assumes, a lot of people thought so, but it's
Yeah,
actually looks like it will.
it looks
I
like it's
know
happening. So yeah,
people have called me reckless in the past. You get what you deserve. I assume that, because Starlink is also, or SpaceX, I should say, is also talking to Charter about using terrestrial infrastructure. And
right.
I kind of jumped to a conclusion in our flagship issue that that's the big three won't work with them, but Charter will. But there's
Right.
no evidence to suggest that Charter can
Well,
do that.
I
Go ahead.
don't really understand what they can use Charter's infrastructure for. Um, and they definitely can't kind of piggyback on the MVNO that Charter has with Verizon.
Right. That makes sense. But don't they have, uh, as the kids say, a shitload of Wi-Fi hotspots that kind of
Yeah,
underpin
yeah.
their own terrestrial Spectrum mobile service?
Yeah, no, for sure. But like literally, how does that kind of benefit Starlink SpaceX? Because they're still going to be having to reach indoors through concrete and steel to get
Right.
to those Wi-Fi things. So I mean, like literally, I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever. So
So you need
the
to partner with somebody who has radio
yeah,
infrastructure.
I mean, I
Yeah, gotcha.
basically from what I've seen, I haven't like had like any sources yet, but like I would imagine they are gearing up to actually build the network themselves because no one's going to partner with them, or none of the big three are going to partner with them.
Uh, at this point, I mean, we've discussed this in the past. They've got the federal government, which they kind of own in their pocket.
Yeah,
They've got the wind at their back and they're coming. And
yeah, yeah,
I mean, again, this is you. We're relying on speculation here, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
understood. But why are the big three so reticent? They're in a pretty competitive race themselves. Why are they so reticent to just say, "Hey, you can't beat them, join them"? These guys are going to partner with somebody. Let's,
Oh,
let's
because well, T-Mobile said they hadn't seen as much kind of value from the. I'm not going to misquote the CEO, but like it was basically to paraphrase that he hadn't seen as much value from the SpaceX Starlink venture as he had expected to see. And
right,
I think that's probably the way the other two, well, the other two are also kind of partnered with AST SpaceMobile. So that's a whole nother story. But, but, basically none of them want to give SpaceX Starlink kind of heads up, a leg up in this field because, it's going to be kind of like cannibalizing their own business pretty soon. So
right. So they view that they're going to be a competitor one way or the other.
yeah, yeah.
Why help them?
Why
Gotcha,
help
gotcha.
them? Yeah, indeed. Yeah. But
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh well, I mean, like literally, like you said, um, they're never going to have a friendlier FCC in place than the one that is in place right now under the Trump admin. Because like as soon as someone else gets in, they're going to be like, I'm not so sure about all of this stuff. But yeah.
I
So
know.
I would say they probably got like two something years to build that network. Just kind of a tall order, but there we go.
I just watched JD Vance appear on Bill Maher. I caught
Right,
it late. I caught it Sunday night, and
right,
he listen, I'm no fan. I go with the other guys, but he is in terms of a guy who can at least talk about policies that don't exist. He
right.
can do, and he has a capability that we don't have right now at the top. So you can see him somehow continuing this wave. Musk could continue his kind of financial backing of the party
Oh
and
yeah.
write the thing into time immemorial. So I don't know about that. I, uh, one thing I wasn't able to sort of see is the connection to those ambitions and the recent FCC AWS-3 spectrum auction. It
Right.
doesn't look like SpaceX bought a ton of free of
No,
spec. Maybe you could tell me what you saw there and
they
and,
bought
and
two licenses, so that isn't a ton of spectrum. I mean, like
uh,
I think Verizon got 103. Oh no, T-Mobile got 103. Verizon got 82. AT&T bought 10. So I mean, like SpaceX Starlink was very much bringing up the rear there. But I mean, it's an expensive business buying spectrum. It really is expensive, and even if you have like the world's richest man as your kind of money backer, um,
yeah,
it's still not going to be cheap.
right. But wouldn't I mean building wireless infrastructure to utilize that spectrum is not going to be cheap. It's understood that it's a multi-billion-dollar affair. If your intention was to build it yourself, wouldn't you buy spectrum at this opportunity, or no?
Well, I imagine they were testing the waters before the the forthcoming kind of seed upper C-band kind of auctions later. I think it's later this year or early next year.
Right.
I think later this year. Because that's going to be the big one. But,
So how you mentioned that they might be forced to go it alone and build this network. How long would it take? And would you just go ahead and build a 6G one because it's going to be obsolete by the time you?
oh no, I wrote a whole big post on this on LinkedIn on Saturday, in fact, but it for some reason like connection dropped and I lost it. But
Oh,
but
you'll have to put it in the newsletter.
yeah, I know. But no, there's no point in building a 6G network right now because one, 6G, the standards aren't even kind of ratified yet. They definitely don't have what's called a non-terrestrial network section yet, which they will need to have, which 5G now has, but 6G doesn't have yet.
Right.
And also, you want to address the largest kind of commercial market you can. So you want to basically support probably 4G and 5G phones rather than 6G. There's going to be about 10 people with 6G phones in like 2030. So
Right.
it's
Your
not worth
point's
it.
well taken. I mean, you would not want to invest in a bunch of infrastructure when you don't even know the standard. So it
No,
just
no,
doesn't
no,
work.
it doesn't make sense. No.
Uh, but at the same time, if you build now, it seems like you're building at the end of an obsolescence cycle. You know,
Well, I mean, like we could say that because of the way 6G is kind of being laid out, we know that it's going to have the 5G standalone core at its base. So as long as you kind of put out a 5G standalone core in whatever way you can, um, that's a good base to build 6G on. So as long as you build a standalone network, you've built the first step of 6G, whatever. So
so kind of looking at Starlink holistically and as a global enterprise that serving about 10 million customers right now, I think that's the number.
right.
What happens next? I mean, do they have to be kind of all in on the US and focus on that to do what they want to do? Does Musk have enough resources to sort of could build out all over the world?
I was
Uh,
kind of wondering about that because literally there's only so many places he'll be able to build out. I mean, if he even wants to, and like there's no sign yet that he particularly wants to, but like I was wondering about that because if you try and build out like a network in Europe, it's not like a Trump era FCC right now. So it's not going to be the same as doing it there. And in Asia, I mean, it depends. I mean, you can't even build a network in China. I don't think you'd have
right.
to be much more government backed than he is right there, right here and right now in China at least. So
Well, when you have $1 trillion, they let you do it. I don't know.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
So I was working at one of the big Hollywood startup blogs in the late aughts
Okay,
when Comcast bought NBC Universal, and
right,
vertical integration. It's
right,
synergy. It
right.
makes sense. And God, I don't know how many times the media entertainment technology business needs to learn that lesson. Today, Comcast announced that it's separating its technology and media businesses. And it's early in this. I just, poured through the release and went to work. I had a couple of things. And maybe it's not time to dive into it, but in case it is, uh, in terms of your neck of the woods, Xfinity Mobile,
Yep.
any thoughts on how it might affect that? Uh, maybe
Um, I mean, I think Xfinity is doing reasonably kind of okay in the kind of cable mobile space, but I
yeah,
mean, I can't see how it's gonna changed the whole kind of media landscape. I mean, other than just the Ellisons buying everything, but
Yeah, we'll get into that and research that more. But yeah, I'm not prepared to make forward-looking statements on that either. So,
right.
all right, we kind of fly through kind of an active morning.
Oh yeah,
That one woke me up. There'll be more. We're gonna do this issue, and then we'll come back a week from today and do more.
yeah.
Dan, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Fierce Stream TV Networks. Like we have an editor.
That was a past life.
Next TMT Networks, and I'm Next TMT. I'm Daniel Frankel, the CEO and co-founder. Thank you, and good day.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm loopy.
Hmm.
Yeah, Vivian will fix that for us and make it sound good. So,
Okay, cool.
well, good. Yeah, I hesitate to put it through email because it comes across as you should do this, but I do think that building in the platform day of, I mean, some things beforehand are good, but I do think that things that are sort of organically developed through the news cycle, I realize that means that I don't see it till late,
Right.
but I'm not really the guy on this anyway. Um, and I think the platform is kind of essential to the communication. You kind of need to
Right.
know that capability. So if I could steer you to kind of taking working natively into it and uh, pushing a lot of the content to day of, I think that, like I said, that's how I do it. It doesn't mean that maybe you have your own way and it doesn't work, but um, I had that thought. So
Oh yeah, I usually write at least one of the sections day of, but like I kind of have one that I make sure that I have like a big chunk of stuff ready to
yeah,
go.
that's smart because it's an enormous lift if you do it all at one day. I agree.
Right.
So okay, onward. Try to populate the subscribers.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
have
yeah.
I'm feeling very bullish about this. It took a long time, but once we did the proof of concept at the our second stream TV,
Yep.
uh, our the interest we have, we're not chasing anyone, we're being chased, and that's a big sea change. So the model works. Will it work as well in your neck of the woods? Can't guarantee it, but
No, I know.
I think it will. I
Okay,
want
good.
to. So what I want to do is I just want to approach folks with you know several $100s. We could just try us out once we get
Yeah,
to it and see where that goes. So
yeah.
that's the goal I have. So
All right. I'm going to be spending the rest of the week pretty much populating the database, like
great.
Tuesday through Thursday.
My wife's
So,
going sailing without me in our
oh,
sailing club, so I'll be here probably doing some of that too. If I don't,
okay, good.
all right. Dan, thanks for being patient today, and
No problem.
let me know when you're done. I'll take a look and do some stuff.
Oh, I've sent the test through, so yeah. I mean, like,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay,
All right.
cool. All right, see you later, man.
See ya.